lads. So moving on from India, I want to go talk about South African England next, but I just wanted to talk about a little bit about the Indian ODI jersey. I know we we were messaging each other in the WhatsApp group and our discontent for the Indian jersey. Like, what to think of the new jersey, lads?
How do you guys like it?
It looks
I
like
hate
it
it.
looks like my baby nephew could do better. Like, you know,
It literally looks like vomit. It looks like billboard vomit. Buy
what's with the
Jews
sponsors,
and
man? Like, what's with
But
the sponsors?
yeah.
who
I get I
who
get I
Who
get
are the
that they're
sponsors?
sponsoring. I understand that, but first of all, India at the end. And if you want to put India at the end, why put India at all? There are many teams who haven't put their name. Like Australia doesn't say Australia. New Zealand doesn't say New Zealand if you look at it, right? But keep it classy.
Yeah, it's whoever could give the money and be like, you know what? They're trying to make it into IPL team jersey. That's what they're trying to do. You know?
Yeah.
there you go, man. Everything is getting taken over by IPL, lads. Cricket's
Can't stand
ruined.
it. Can't stand it.
You know?
Can't
All
stand
right, so lads, I know the England and South Africa series is going on as well. Before I want to talk about Temba, but what I was looking at when I was doing the research for this podcast was England seems to be the most balanced team in the world right now. I mean, when
Yeah.
you look at their T20 squad, their ODI squad, their test squads, for some reason they have managed to figure out the most hard,
Can
like,
I just stop you for 1 second? I
yeah, yeah,
don't
go
think
on.
I don't think they have the most balanced test side, but I agree
But
with ODI and T20
but dude, they still do really well in tests.
in England.
Yeah, but like they mostly
Yeah,
play tests
they
in
do
England
well
these
in
days.
tests in England. They don't necessarily
But
do
I
well in tests abroad.
but what I
I
what I
don't
what I
think they
like
have.
about England though is, as I was saying, they do a different side for tests and T20s. They don't try
Yeah.
to mix it up. They don't
That
have the same
yeah, there
board.
you go. You
That
see,
I really love.
uh,
So Joe Root is doing one job, and Jason Roy doesn't interfere with that job. So I really like their segregation in terms of
Yeah.
T20 and then test.
This is probably the only time we're ever gonna say like we actually like a segregation. Man.
That's a wrong joke to make in a cricket
uh,
podcast, but yeah.
yeah, but do you guys think that other uh, test playing nations, anyway, so the 12 there is, do you think they should? Obviously, like teams like Afghanistan and Ireland aren't up to that standard yet,
Standard, yeah,
so
yeah.
our players need to be like overlapped. But do you think the other Big Ten, do you think they should follow the same? If India and Australia series to anything to go by right now, do you think that's like a case that other teams should follow similar structure to build their teams?
I think so as well.
depends how many players you have. Man. Like England have a wealth of players in their county system that they can afford to do that. You know, like the fact that they can have a test match and have um, Jofra Archer, Wokes,
Yeah.
Broad, Anderson, all in the same
And
team.
yeah.
That shows you that like they've got so many players in the system, whereas other countries may not have that. You know, which is the
Well, yeah, you can't. I don't think there is any team where Broad and Anderson, between them they have like 1,000. How many wickets do they have? Like 1,000.
yeah, like yeah,
So
um,
Yeah. Around that.
no team has that pair. But having said that, I really think still there can be a little bit of a role like Cheteshwar Pujara type situation where you give someone you take care of them, and then you give someone and freedom to follow their own method of batting, you know, and it
I
doesn't
mean,
interfere in the T20 circuit.
didn't Australia used to do it like towards the late 90s and early 2000s when they had Simon Katich and Justin Langer, I think,
yeah,
or who was it? You know, they had like different opening pair
yeah.
for a test and they would only play tests and
Yeah,
they had
yeah.
Gary
Justin
Gilchrist.
Langer,
They had
yeah,
Gilchrist Hayden for ODIs.
Yeah.
in the
Yeah,
limited format, and
Yeah,
Justin Langer in the tests, right?
Langer and Hayden in
Yeah,
test. But again, like
yeah,
back then, you only had ODI and test.
yeah, and they
You
yeah.
still
don't have
managed
the
to like find
T20.
that balance.
You know, you don't have the T20 that's coming in now. which
Yeah.
I think is muddling up a lot of countries. Like, and they're kind of confused as where their priorities are. I think.
Yeah.
I
But
think especially India. I think, in my opinion, anyway. But you know,
I think Sharad really
but do
hates
you think?
T20s, isn't
yeah.
it?
Oh, no. Not T,
Yes.
not no, not
but
T20,
so
but
like
franchise cricket. Yeah. So yeah.
But I think, but why? I want to talk about that. Well, why do you think that it's such a like dangerous situation to be in? But in football, in any all other sports, there is franchise stuff, and that's but the most famous,
Well,
isn't it?
in what sense? I don't think there's
Like,
franchises in football as you know. Like I think the problem with like franchises in cricket and with like T20 stuff is that it's not necessarily um, developing good Test cricket players or good ODI players. You know,
Yeah.
and listen, it's fantastic for the
so
sporting. Sorry, go on.
sorry,
Sorry.
no man, finish
Yeah.
off because like there was something you just said. I just wanted to follow
Oh, okay,
through
yeah,
with
yeah. No,
that.
like
So
I think
yeah.
like it is fantastic for like bringing fans in, and it is all a money making thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but as a person who's been watching cricket for like years,
Yeah.
me it's like
And playing, don't forget playing as
I'm
well,
playing,
Sharad.
right? It's like, well, you're not developing good Test cricket nations or players or anything like that, and instead you're thinking about the money making side of it and going, oh,
Yeah.
we're going to get loads of people in, but they're not going to start going, oh, I'm going to go watch a Test match now. They want is the T20 short format, and so that's all they're going to keep watching. But they're not necessarily going to go, oh yeah, now I'm going to watch Test match for 5 days. So they're not they're not
Yeah.
they're not bringing they're
But
not bringing in people to go, oh, we want to love every aspect of cricket. They're
Yeah.
bringing in people to go, oh, they're going to spend money, they're gonna make the franchises bigger, and
Yeah.
soon it's all going to become a kind of like, oh well, who's got the biggest franchise, who's got the
Yeah.
most money.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to become, in my
That's where
opinion.
we're headed.
Yeah, so
so like, do you think bringing in so when you like let players cross over, do you think it's becoming that some of the players are getting ruined? Like, I mean, we talked about Indian team earlier. I want to talk about Temba because he is their Test vice captain, and if you see him bat, he is amazing. Like he's a really good red ball player. In ODIs, he's had a lot of success, but in the last two T20s, one he got a duck, and today I think he scored 13 runs. So when you have someone like that who thrives in the longer format of the cricket, and you bring him to T20 cricket, and they're basically like losing confidence, what kind of what do you do? Like, how do you protect these players?
don't
Well,
play
so
Benny.
But what?
Yeah.
But then
I would.
someone like Tamba, who's obviously deserves a recognition at the national level, what
Yeah.
So
happens to them?
why does he
But I
not?
think redistribution of funds, isn't it? Like when IPL makes great money, right? And I know IPL players get a lot of money, but the money that you get, you have to reinvest that in cricket infrastructure, of course, right? So why don't you make the contracts of the players who don't play IPL but play test matches a little more so that they can be satisfied and survive on them? It's
I think
money at
I
the end
think
of the
that I
day.
think that they're two different things though. The franchises are owned by like you know the
No,
team,
I understand. I
teams,
understand.
so
But
they're not
but
going to care.
BCCI is still making money, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean,
It
I
is.
don't like you know I don't think they care whether the
Yeah.
test players are getting. It's like West Indies. West Indies is a fantastic example actually with their
Yeah.
contracts. It's the whole reason why it's the whole reason why
Yeah.
like a number of their players have been in IPL and haven't played in the national team.
Yeah.
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 Wayne Bravo hasn't played for the national team in how many
Like
Just
years?
look
how
at
many
Russell
times
now.
we have, yeah,
Russell, he's not in the Western City squad. Like,
Yeah, like Pollard was supposed to come back, but he's old now. Like he's gone. There was this whole
yeah,
row over contracts and stuff like that, and then they've gone. Well, screw it. I'm going to go IPL and play for money.
I think
mm,
just one World Cup, one T20 World Cup, they played together and
Mm,
they won.
yeah.
And every time we look at the IPL or any international T20 tournament or any tournament, we look at West Indies players and we go like, if all these are in one team, how can they not win?
yeah,
But you brought a very good point. I think that's a prime example of how the contracts were not updated to keep players afloat. That's really true. Yeah.
But like going
But
back to Bavuma, for instance.
yeah,
Now, okay, I've seen his average in Test cricket. It's not amazing. It's I think it's like 30, right? Not an amazing average for a Test player, and he's still got a long way to go. So I don't know how old he is. I can't remember how old he is. But...
he's 30 years old.
Okay, well that's not good. That's not good news. Then.
Yeah,
he's old.
Yeah.
So like we
So
can't really.
They brought him in.
We can't really technically say he's an amazing player. I think he's just created history for himself in the country that he was in. But that doesn't necessarily make you an amazing player, right? But nevertheless, right, he's in the test setup. He's done pretty well at test setup, right? And like kind of ODIs as well. He hasn't played many ODIs. There's no need to bring him into the T20 scene. Like if it's like bringing Pujara into T20. I'm going to be seen. Why would you bring him in? It's like Roy.
Yeah.
It's like Roy going into test.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous.
Me personally, though, I've got a thing with Roy is that I think they've been batting him up opening when they shouldn't be. But that's a whole different conversation.
And for me, I think it disturbs the legacy. Imagine if Rahul Dravid was playing today and they were forcing him to open for RCB, I would be like, Jesus, why?
Yeah, exactly.
You respect some people in one
pretty well in the IPL, to be fair.
No, I know he can do everything that he can, but the thing is, there is some greatness in the things that like Rahul Dravid did for India, and just belittling it in IPL, I wouldn't support that.
Yeah, but Sahil, let me tell you another thing, right? Yeah, IPL is a competition that isn't fully international. Like you're not coming up against full international bowlers and batsmen. You're coming up against some Indian county players who are not amazing, right? And then you're coming up against some international players. It's not a scene to be like, oh, they're ODI ready, they're test match ready.
Yeah, of course not. Of course not. Yeah.
So I don't think like franchise. That's why I'm going back to franchise cricket isn't something where you can develop a test match player or an ODI.
Of course, yeah. So I think the panel here, Shovy, is fully in support of different teams for T20s and tests.
Okay, so lads, so I know this is going on right now, Ashane, right? I'm gonna go to you first. So how do you think South Africa is doing as a team? I know they're going through a transition period. Obviously, they're playing players like Temba who shouldn't be in the T20 setup. They're bringing them in. But what do you think South Africa's current situation? Where is it going to be like in a couple of years' time, and how long would it take them to rebuild their setup?
It's going to be hard for them, so especially with when Duplessis when he retires, but like he's in his mid-30s, isn't he? Like when he retires as well, I think they're going to struggle a bit as well. Like Rabada, like he's a good bowler, like no problem there. Like they have a good enough bowling attack, but I just don't feel like they'll have a solid batting attack in the future in like 2 to 3 years time. Quinton de Kock, he's a stable player, but like you can he sometimes get out like really easily, like as we saw in the IPL, like he just always you can determine like he'll get good scores, but like sometimes he's just really sloppy at the times, like, and he gets out. But like it's gonna be hard for them in their middle overs as well, like not in the middle overs, their middle bat, like in the team, like and all that kind of stuff. I feel like it's gonna be hard for them. They don't have
it's interesting, isn't it?
How
countries like West Indies and South Africa, they have amazing talent, amazing player coming up, but due to politics and due to all these backbone problems in cricket, they keep coming up with challenges somehow. Otherwise,
can someone
like
get the squad off for the South African team? Sahil,
right now.
But so like South Africa, we were talking about this earlier, that how Australia made changes, like drastic changes. So South Africa dropped somebody, I can't really remember who they dropped, but they brought in Nokia for this game, but he didn't bowl today, and
he didn't bowl.
Well, sorry, he didn't bat today. My bad. He bowled today, and he was 4 overs for 21, no wickets. So he's supposed to be there next, and obviously Rabada is there as well. He only got 1 wicket. Ngidi got 2. But that's 3 strike bowlers they have. but they're
Yeah.
not really giving them a batsman, like a batting setup up top to help them defend it, like defend their cause basically.
Yeah.
I just think they just
Yeah.
don't
You
have
have
like.
Van der Dussen, Klaassen. Not a good middle order really.
I
Yeah.
just like
No, man, you can't bring that mid.
they just probably don't have the system, I guess, and the players that are coming up and being nurtured enough maybe. And I think like I mean I remember I used to watch like West Indies all the time. I like Chanderpaul was probably my favorite player. I would try
Yeah.
and bat like him in a match. Like
Yeah.
that's how much I love that kind of, and even Sarwan as well, man. Like that whole West Indies side,
Ramnare Sarvan. Yeah.
loved it, right? And then
Lads,
suddenly,
okay, you've all played with me. I bat the only way I can play spinner is if I bat like Chanderpaul.